So like I mentioned earlier, TD's channel is all about fantasy football. So he is the guru when it comes to fantasy. Listen to what this man has to say, because he will definitely get you some more wins in this fantasy season that we're coming up on here. So just wanted to open up the floor for us to ask a few questions to TD about things that you should do, things to not do this season. So my first question, I'll kick things off. Is there a position in specific that you think is a must hit this year in 2023?
Yes, it's the quarterback position. And the reason why it's the quarterback position, if you played fantasy years ago, a lot of people played in standard leagues, and the running back was very, very valuable because that's who got the goal line touches, which is like for touchdowns. But now you have quarterbacks throwing the ball 40, 45 times. 10 years ago, you wasn't going to see a quarterback throwing it 40, 45 times unless it was Don Coryell or Andy Reid or somebody that's passed the ball like crazy. Now every quarterback is passing at least 35 times a game, sometimes even 50. So you have to have a good quarterback because these guys are scoring so many points. They might score 40 points and then your guy give you an okay game, two touchdowns, and you only get 25 and you already lost a week because you can't catch up from 15, 20 points. That's the big gap. It used to be for people would wait late and get quarterbacks because the highest quarterback might score 28 and the bottom quarterback might score 18. Now it's like 40 points. You got Justin Fields scoring like 40 points
Yeah.
3 weeks in a row, and you got Kirk Cousins scoring like 19, 20 points, which is a good game, but that's not enough to compete. So now you have to have a quarterback. So I think you need to go and get your quarterback early, and it's like six of those guys, seven of those guys. Like it was in standard league, it was like seven top running backs, and you had to get one of those guys to actually win the league. That's how it is with quarterbacks. You have to get Pat Mahomes, you have to get Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and it's a couple sleepers every year that you can wait a little bit late and get those guys.
Okay, so I got two questions. So I'm gonna ask one, then you answer, and then I'll ask the other one. Okay. So piggybacking
Okay.
off the quarterback. So when you're thinking of quarterbacks, which type of quarterback is more valuable to you? The Joe Burrow, the Justin Herbert type, maybe Patrick Mahomes because he hasn't run much. Or are you looking more at the Hurts, the Lamar Jackson, the Justin Fields, the more of the dual threat where you get more running and you know you're going to get more designed run plays out of that quarterback? Like which style of quarterback is more appealing to you in fantasy?
I would have to go to the Russian quarterback, and the reason why I've picked Lamar Jackson in a couple leagues that I've went to the championship in, and even Lamar worst games, he gave me like 19, 20 points. Do you want to
Hmm.
know what Joe Burrow his worst game was? And you know Joe Burrow is a way better thrower than Lamar Jackson, right? I say that, but I think Lamar is a better quarterback overall in this new NFL. But throwing the ball, Joe Burrow is second to none. He scored like 8, 9 points a couple games. So Lamar never scored 8, 9 points. Never. So I think running quarterbacks give you a nice floor where no matter what happens, you're gonna have a good amount of scoring from that quarterback, even on a bad game. Where throwing quarterbacks, if they don't throw for 300 or 400 yards, they just come out in the game and they hand the ball off and they just keep it safe because their team is up. You might be disappointed, but that quarterback actually played good in the real football. So I like running quarterbacks.
All right. I like that. Now, here's my second question. Now, keep in mind, I'm in a league with all these dumbasses on this show. So if you want to lie and just hit me up privately to let me know whether or not you tell me you're lying. But let's talk about drafting running back strategy because there's really like two main strategies. There's your hero one running back where you pick one in the first round, like top 2 to 3 running backs, like 4 running backs, and you don't get another running back till like after round 7 or 8, and you use 2 through 7 or whatever to grab your quarterback, wide receivers, tight end, or whatever. And then there's the no running back where you just load up on quarterbacks, wide receivers, and then you get your running backs later in like the sixth, seventh, eighth round. With having so much transition in running backs, where people changing teams with Jacobs and Taylor and Flux. Are you more prone to the one running back because maybe there's going to be so few? Or are you in the no running back rule where you're going to go heavy on wide receiver, quarterback, and get running back later because there's even a lot of rookie running backs later in the draft regardless?
Okay, so let me tell you this, and this is what a lot of my subscribers we go back and forth with a lot. It's 9 ways to skin a cat. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to go in with a strategy from the beginning because that's how you get upset. People are going to go and take players that you plan on getting because you've been looking at ADP. Oh, I'm gonna go get this guy. I'm going zero RB because this is the guys that how my mock draft has been going, and then that guy's not there.
Yep.
I say go into the draft and be open minded. I like to go zero RB because I like to get late round running backs and get a bunch of them. Because if you look at the end of the season, the guy that you think is going to win, like it's going to win people leagues, is not really the guy that was going to win you leagues. Look at Cam Akers. Cam Akers was garbage the first 10 weeks of the season last year. And then you go to week 15 when the playoffs started, he was a top 5 back. What about the guys that had Josh Jacobs and those type of guys? He'll make us outscore those guys. So to me, I'm looking to go zero RB. But if you leave CMC for me to pick, I'm going to take them. So I'm not going to just get locked in. I think you got to be flexible. Get the best value on the board and let your team be what it's going to be. Don't go in and say, I'm going to get this, and this. It'll mess up your team. Have an open mind and take the best play on the board and get the best studs that's going to score. And I always do this funny thing. I say 30 points, 40 points, 30 points, 40 points. I'm looking for guys that's going to score big time points because one guy can win you the lead. You get a bunch of average players like, okay, 15, 20. And then one guy on the next team you playing, he get a guy that goes for 50 points. And you be like, wait a minute, how did he beat me? His team sucks. He had one guy that went for 40 points, 50 points. So I say get the best play on the board.
You hear that, Shaq? He said, stay locked into your mock draft.
Tunnel vision.
No matter what happens, stay locked into the mock draft and how you got your people, and don't pick up Christian McCaffrey. Don't do it.
Gino.
Hey, leave me alone. Yeah, get Gino number 1.
CHB says Lamar all day when it comes to fantasy quarterbacks. That man is the Konami code. Anthony Richardson next up, which is a great segue to my next question. Do you have any underrated quarterbacks that you think that people should be keeping their eyes on this draft season?
Yes, guys, and this is probably my best take that I probably had, and I've been doing this for 3 years. I've been watching football for over 25 years, but as far as doing fantasy, I've been doing it over 3 years. Daniel Jones is going to win MVP. Daniel Jones is going to win MVP. I saw it last year. I saw with Brian Daboll what he did with the guy, and I always knew because I'm from North Carolina, so I watch. Duke is my favorite college team. So when I watched Daniel Jones, and he was solid. He was a good quarterback. I could see how they drafted him in the first round, but not at the number 8 pick. But when I watched the guy as a rookie, and he came out and scored like 4 passing touchdowns with 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 picks as a rookie when they benched Eli Manning, I'm like, oh, this is what Getterman. This is why he drafted this guy. And then they drafted. Then they end up getting a new coach, Jason Garrett, which I'm a Cowboy fan, and Jason Garrett is a good coach, but not for a young quarterback that's mobile. He's more for a guy like a Dak Prescott that's going to sit in the pocket and do exactly what the script says. Mm-hmm. And he ruined Daniel Jones. But Daniel Jones is so humble, he didn't go and speak up for himself. Hey, this is bad. And he just did it and he did it. But this is what made him be the quarterback that he's going to be. Daniel Jones, to me, guys, and I'm not being hyperbole here, probably the skill set, he could probably be one of the greatest quarterbacks we ever saw. Let me tell you why. He has the skill set. He can stand in the pocket and manipulate the pocket like Peyton Manning. He's accurate. He's very, very intelligent. He also can go, well, it's a snow game. We need you to run the ball. And he can go out and give you 15 carries. And it's also, he's tough. He's not going to, oh, I'm hurt. He's going to play through injuries. He's done it before. So I think Daboll is going to put it all together like he did for Josh Allen. Don't you know Josh Allen had the worst completion percentage as a rookie ever? Mm-hmm. And then he came back out and threw and won. And then when Brian Daboll got there, he had the best completion percentage in the whole league. Guys, I never seen. I was so shocked because I said, Josh Allen, I'm done with him. And that was one of the only misses that I probably had of seeing quarterbacks like grow. But Brian Daboll is something with his scheme that he's really good at, that he can make these quarterbacks get better in the pocket. And I believe this is going to be Daniel Jones' year. He's going to win MVP, and he's going as like the number 9 quarterback off the board. So to me, this is what I'm doing for fantasy. I'm going to get top wide receivers, top backs, waiting late, and then I'm getting Daniel Jones, and I feel good as anybody got. If they got Pat Mahomes, Lamar, I got a good quarterback. Okay, I got Daniel Jones. Watch what he gonna do. And then you saw what happened last week with him and Darren Waller. And people, my subscribers are coming to me like, TD, man, if you right on this, man, I can't believe it. I'm like, I already know, And like I said, I'm not. Anything can happen in football, but I feel great about this take. I think Daniel Jones is going to win MVP. So, guys, if you bet, go bet on him to win the MVP this year. I think it's great odds.
See, I wasn't gonna go MVP level with Daniel Jones yet, but I have Jalen back me up. I have said on the show that I do think that Daniel Jones can have a career resurgence like Josh Allen, because like you said, Josh Allen was terrible when he first came into the league. Like, he looked like a bust written all over him until he blew up Dayball. And I do like that he is a dual threat quarterback. The one thing that I will say that I love is that your first advice was, number one thing, get your quarterback first, and then you just told me your strategy, which is not that. So I love it, TD. I love you give me the real take.
Right.
And everybody else get that quarterback. I love it.
Right, but there's sleepers every year though. There's sleepers every year. And so I'm not going to go and give advice and tell people to try to wait and get Daniel Jones. I'm just giving you a guy that I'm waiting to do. But if you are playing fantasy, go get Pat Mahomes, go get Lamar Jackson, go get one of these top quarterbacks. I don't think people's going to feel comfortable waiting to get Daniel Jones. So to me, I do that, but I'm not going to recommend other people to do that.
All right, two other questions for you real quick. One, if Saquon Barkley gets hurt, is that going to change the year that Daniel Jones is going to be able to have? That's my first question.
No, I was hoping, and listen, I wanted Saquon to play for the Giants, but I was hoping that he'd get traded because I know people was going to say this. It's all because of Saquon. He don't need Saquon. He don't need Darren Waller. He told you that last year. He did it with Isaiah Hodgson, who was an undrafted free agent. And end up taking that team and winning a playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings, who won 13 games. So he don't need Darren Waller. He don't need Saquon. And they're going to take him to the next level as an MVP candidate, but he don't need those guys to be successful. This guy has Tom Brady-ish type stuff in him. I mean, if you just break down this game, you can tell. Like, he can get outside the pocket. He can manipulate the pocket with guys of lesser talent. But if you give him a Stephon Diggs like they did for Josh Allen, you see how Josh Allen took his game to the next level, and that's what Darren Waller is going to do, and that's what Saquon is going to help Daniel Jones also do.
Okay. I got a question about tight end. Okay. Because not everybody can get Travis Kelce, and he had I think it was over 100 more fantasy points on ESPN than the next tight end next to him. So there's Travis Kelce and everybody else. But tell us who you think the best of everybody else is. Like, who are some tight ends, people out there that are trying to get a fantasy team together? Oh, shucks, Travis Kelce's gone in, the first pick because someone's a dumbass. And now you're left looking for a tight end in later rounds. Who would you be looking for at tight end when Kelce's not there?
Hate to be redundant. Next would be Darren Waller. I actually think Darren Waller has a chance to be better than Travis Kelce this year. But Darren Waller, I'm going with Kyle Pitts over T.J. Hockenson, over George Kittle, over Mark Andrews. The reason why is this guy's a cheat code. Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver. He's like a Calvin Johnson type. But he's playing tight end. So they're going to give this guy targets. They're not going to draft this guy in the top 5 just to give him 5 targets a game. So he's going to command 8 to 9 targets a game, and that's even because his quarterback is not that great. If they ever get a great quarterback, this guy's going to be a cheat code, and I've been worried about them. I've been worried about that because I think they're going to change his position eventually because it's going to be too. It's like, wait a minute, this guy, you can't put him at tight end. He's getting 12 targets, and he's lining out at the outside wide receiver flanker position. So I believe that Kyle Pitts is like a guy that you can get late because people are down on him because of what happened last year because of his injury, and he's gonna boom. I also love Darren Waller. Also, I like Pat Fryermuth as a couple other later guys. I like Pat Fryermuth. Um, who else? And then you got your George Kittles and your Mark Andrews too. Those guys are okay. I'm not really that high on them. I believe in positive regression. Just because they did it last year, don't mean they're gonna do it again this year. I like to get young guys who are hungry, that's trying to move up. I believe Darren Waller is trying to have a bounce back season, and I do believe that Brian Daboll will manage his injuries. Brian Daboll is a really good coach, so he's gonna say, you know what, you're not practicing today. So I'm basically drafting Darren Waller and Kyle Pitts after Travis Kelce is gone.
All right. I would just like to point out, I think Nestor has a question, but I would just like to point out that yes, Edie is giving a lot of love to the Giants, but he did tell us before the show that he is a Cowboys fan. So if this man is this bullish on Jones, Waller, I better listen because he's gonna drink some mouthwash. This episode.
Go ahead, Nestor.
I just want to say, first thing, I want to see Kyle Pitts do good, but I'm a skeptic after having him last year. I don't know if Atlanta is just not using him right, or there's something going on over there. It's just, I fully believe in his talent, but I'm yet to see it. I hope that this season is it. I really do. Um, I had a quick question. So, as you said earlier, you're probably not going to be able to land the guys you want all the time because everybody else is going to be going for those guys. Like, as far as wide receivers go, um, just because I think running back is a little risky this season. Um, so if you can't land guys like Justin Jefferson, obviously Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, who do you think way down on that table? Like, even after guys like St. Brown, who do you give us like 2 or 3 names? Some guys that you think are gonna like blow up a little bit.
Right. Right. Okay. So again, and I always do this. It's like my little thing that I do on YouTube. Is I 30 points, 40 points, 30 points, 40 points. I like big play wide receivers. I don't care if they might give me 5 or 6 points a couple weeks because I got other guys that's gonna have big weeks too. I like Christian Watson. Now everybody's he can't run routes. The game has changed. I like big play wide receivers. I was one of the first ones on Tyreek Hill 3 or 4 years ago. I said he was a Hall of Famer. People thought I was crazy. He's on his way. I think Tyreek Hill is probably a top 5 player of all time. I'm talking about Barry Sanders, O.J. Simpson. If you look at it, every time he touch it, it's to the crib. Every time just look at go look at his stats. It's almost better than Randy Moss. I think he might be a little bit better than Randy Moss per target. So to me, I like Christian Watson. Also, a guy who's breaking out, who's had a great camp, is Brandon Ayuk from the San Francisco 49ers. The guy route running is impeccable. So I love him at his ADP. Also, a couple other guys I like. I like Jahan Dotson. I think he's better than Terry McLaurin. Now listen, I'm not going to pitch off no injury.
Ask about Terry.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pitch off no injury and say, well, he got hurt. No, I actually said he was better before the injury. Now Terry McLaurin is a great wide receiver, but Jahan is just a younger, better athlete. And if you look at PFF, which is like a stat-based platform, Jahan Dotson was top 5 up there with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in deep balls. He also led this team with 7 receiving touchdowns over Terry McLaurin last year, and Carson Wentz actually targeted him in the red zone as a rookie. So that's telling you something. So I love Jahan Dotson. I think he's a guy that's going to boom out, and I think you can get him late almost in any drafts if you don't get those top guys. But real quick before I let you go to your next question, man, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the number 1 wide receiver as far as in fantasy. I said what I said. He's the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy. And the reason why, bro, a lot of guys go off athletic ability. I do too. But sometimes you get guys like Antonio Brown, they just mentally so strong and they want it so bad, like Kobe Bryant mentality. Amon-Ra is hurt. And I really mean that. I mean, I'm being funny, but I really mean he's hurt that he can get drafted. And this guy's out to prove something. You know, that guy, remember every receiver that was drafted in front of him? So he's out to prove something. So I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I actually, bro, if you wanted to take Amon-Ra with the number 3 pick, I don't think he can be overdrafted this year. Now, I'm not going to tell you to draft the number 1 over Justin Jefferson, but I'm definitely not drafting Jamar Chase over him. I'm fading Jamar Chase this year, and that's a whole nother question. I don't want none of those Cincinnati players.
It was funny you said Antonio Brown are mentally strong, but what are you going on that?
It's different ways, man. People are mentally strong in different ways. You know, Beethoven was mentally strong, but he also was. If you go read, he was crazy too. You know, so most crazy people, man, are mentally strong. It's just not in the ways that we would think they are. Antonio Brown is very mentally strong.
I wanted to ask you. I only have 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
As far as rookies go, are there any rookies that you have your eyes on to pick up in more of the later rounds?
Yes. So let me see. Rookies. What rookies would I say? So outside of quarterbacks, which is AR-15, I think he's a great pickup for if you want to wait late for quarterbacks. So look, I don't recommend that, but if you wanted to do that, I think he would be okay with that. He's going to give you a good floor because of his rushing ability. But wide receiver, let me see. Is there a wide receiver? I would say Luke Musgrave at tight end.
Okay.
For the Green Bay Packers. And the reason why I would tell you to pick up Luke Musgrave is he's playing in the Matt LaFleur offense, and Matt LaFleur offense is a lot of play action game, and that gets your tight ends out in open space. Luke Musgrave was timed at 19 miles per hour as a tight end. He's 6'7", 250.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually I would like to wait late on tight end and get him as a rookie. Also, who is another rookie? Let me see. It's another rookie out here. Just give me a second. That I'm really on to. Let me see. Yes, for the Giants. Again, I'm back on the Giants. Jalen Hyatt. He's going to be the deep threat. So this is a flex play, a guy you can throw in the flex, and you shouldn't worry about what his output is going to be, because it's not going to really kill you, but he can end up going for 30 points. 2 bombs can give you 30 points. So to me, I like Jalen Hyatt. I think he's going to be a breakout wide receiver just because of Daniel Jones and being a part of this offense.
Okay. My last question for you, as far as defenses go, I'm the type of dude who just plays the waiver wire just week by week. I'm just picking up whatever is best available. Do you have a better strategy for defenses? Do you ride with one and just stick it out through the whole year, or do you also just pick out whatever's best available?
So, bro, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I play in IDP leagues. I want y'all guys to join some of my leagues. I'm going to make sure I get y'all information. And if you know rush or anything, I know everybody's busy, but you should play in one of my leagues, especially my dynasty leagues. I have 9 defensive starters. I try to make it like a real general manager. That's the name of one of my leagues. It's called General Manager. I got 2 defensive tackle spots, 2 linebackers, 3 IDP, which is you can play any position there, and 2 DBs. So defense, I'm really not into. I just don't like it like that. But the defenses that I am targeting, I don't really have a strategy. I like to try to wait late. I want to build my offensive team first if I do got to do a defense. But the defense that I think is a sleeper that you can get is the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers, they got 8 first rounders on that team starting. So I like Green Bay as a sleeper defense. I would pick them up. Also, I like the New York Giants. I know y'all might say, so listen, when the Giants go far and have a Super Bowl run, I didn't say win the Super Bowl. When they have a Super Bowl run, you would say, well, TD, I understand why he kept talking about the Giants the whole time. And I'm a Cowboy fan. And I told everybody, I said, guys, it hurts me to say this. They're going to win the division. I said this like 3 or 4 months ago. And this team is very strong. So I like the Giants and I like the Green Bay Packers as sleeper defenses. And sometimes you got to also play the waiver ahead of time. So look at schedule. If you see a defense is going to have, especially for the fantasy football playoffs, you see that they're going to have some weak opponents. They're going to be playing some bottom feeders. Go ahead and stash that defense ahead of time. You can't wait till the week to do it. You have to do it about 3 to 4 weeks out and stash that team.
Great advice. Very good. CHB is in the chat. He's saying Calvin Austin is a sleeper, and also says AD
Yes.
is definitely mentally strong, especially playing in the NFL. So there's that. Do you guys have any more questions for TD?
I think we covered just about every position.
Yeah.
I think we did. We're
uh,
like, hey, TD, read us the whole handbook, man.
right. Yeah. Again, folks, his YouTube link will be down in the description below. He's got so many videos, like on every single possible position. On basically take everything we just asked him and multiply that by like 100, because he really takes a lot of deep dives into all this stuff. So if you were looking for anything fantasy football related, that is the channel to go to for sure. Yeah, TD, do you want to say anything else before we end the first half?
Yes, guys. I offer consultations. I've helped I would say a little bit under 10 people win championships. Guys, I haven't won a championship. I've came in second like 7 or 8 times. I know, right? I'm mad at myself too. But it happens. It happens. But I have guys. If you need a consultation, you need help drafting a team, I can sit there with you the whole draft. Actually, when you sign up for one of my membership tiers, it's only $40, and I sit with you the whole draft. But if you're not part of my membership, then it's gonna cost you $80. But I sit with you the whole time and help you learn how to draft. Guys, go watch my channel and look at all my past videos. I hate to say this, I'm not trying to be bold or anything or cocky. I'm 75% right on the players that I predict about booming, especially like breakouts and sleepers. Now, I'm not right on every player, right? But I am, far as if you look at all the other channels that put out content, I think I'm more accurate. They very safe. Like I said, I was on Tyreek Hill last year. I was on Tua. I said they was gonna have a boom year. I said Tua was gonna have a chance to win MVP. Nobody else in the whole fantasy football atmosphere on YouTube said that. They was like, well, he's using Pat Mahomes. And then you remember Tyreek said that Tua threw a better ball, and people thought that was crazy. He was kind of playing a little bit, but it was true. For a speed demon guy to get the ball out quick, yes, and accurate and real soft for you, yeah, that's good. And they don't need Tyreek in Kansas City. They don't need him like this. So he was trying to prove his worth. So guys, it's a lot of stuff that I've hit on that no other content creator has hit on. So you want to make sure you sign up for my consultations or just go and subscribe to my channel. It's cutting edge content.
I think Nestor is going to want your information because he's going to
Nestor's
need all
got
the
his
help
wallet
he can
out
get.
right now.
Hey, I wasn't last. I wasn't last season. Even though like half of the people were injured, I wasn't last. Let's say that. Almost.
The other people that he was ahead of, like, stopped playing halfway through the year. But he was like on the waiver wire.
Well, that's Jalen's fault. That's my.
TD, thanks a ton, man, for taking time out of your evening to come talk
Thank you
with
so
us.
much, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anytime. Y'all guys are welcome on my channel anytime. I actually want to do something with y'all guys if you don't mind. I hit y'all up. Make sure you can my Gmail is fantasygoodsports@gmail.com, and just give me y'all information. That way we can, we could chop it up and, whatever y'all need. If y'all want need me to come on the show again, I'm good with that. If y'all want to come on the show, that's fine.
Cool, for sure.
We should definitely have him in at some point, like maybe quarter way through the season. What advice do you got for people like Nestor that your team is shit through 4 or 5 weeks?
yeah,
How
here we
you
go.
kind of
Salvage
deal?
your year.
That can work out.
All
So,
right,
well, thank you
TD.
so much, sir. We appreciate it.